How do we prevent this from happening, and how do we protect ourselves?
So I think it's a twofold approach. There's most certainly technologies out there that help. There are technologies that can say, this appears to look like personal data. Let's notify someone that maybe it's a whole list of ID numbers or credit cards. This looks like potentially sensitive data. Let's hold it back until someone has a check on it. But I think more importantly than technology, we, from a Mimecast point of view, we're raising the concept of the human firewall, I think, and that's around education.
Right.
People need to understand that data is sensitive, that sharing information is potentially dangerous, that not understanding security and having the same passwords on everything and having very simple passwords is not just potentially dangerous for yourself, but potentially dangerous for the business that you work for. So I think that's a twofold approach. One, having the right infrastructure and technical services, and two, getting a good education message into your workforce from a corporate perspective. And of course that then filters out from the corporates into people's personal lives as well.
All right, so you're giving us your top tips on how to stay protected online, and that's obviously protecting yourself from phishing, malware, essentially hackers. So why don't we start off with number one?
Good stuff. So I think the first thing to do is to be aware, and the way one gets aware is to make sure that you read a relevant publication, snippet online from time to time around what's going on. Mm-hmm. These threats, the weaknesses that people expose evolve all the time. And the only way you're going to be aware of what to look out for is if you're reading these things. So it's the phishing scams that get you to give away your password in your bank account, etc., etc. The second is most certainly to have a fairly strong approach to how you manage your passwords. It's most certainly not a good idea to have the same password across all of your services. It's most certainly not a good idea to have very simple passwords like something obvious like your dog's name or your cat's name or your date of birth. Those things are very easy to pick up from social media if you've ever put them down there. So use a combination of capitals, of alphanumerics and special characters. Change your passwords from time to time as well. That's most certainly another tip. A lot of people out there like to separate their browsers on their computers. Mm-hmm. So they'll have a browser like, I might use Firefox only for banking. I won't do anything else except my banking in my Firefox browser, and I will do a host of other things that are less potentially critical in a second or even a third browser. Of course, it's vital to have some layer of updated software on the services that you use. Mm-hmm. Be that open source or paid for software, be it corporate or personal, but do not have devices out there that don't have up-to-date software. And then finally, I think most certainly one has to be more careful when you're using public services. So if you're on public Wi-Fi or if you're in an internet cafe, you've got to be a lot more careful about what you input into the network. You might be even using your own personal device or a internet cafe terminal. You've got to be a lot more careful about what you enter into that device in terms of passwords, usernames, where you go, the information you divulge when you're not on a trusted network. So those would probably be my top tips.